Coming in at number 4 on our best Hallmark movies of 2024 list is Savoring Paris. This movie was an absolute delight and a summertime hit, whisking us away to the Parisian streets with Bethany Joy Lenz. I encourage you all to give it a rewatch if you haven't. Now is a perfect time to rewatch this gem and relive the Parisian magic. You should see the look Megan's giving me right now. Don't forget to check out our full review where we broke down all the charm, delicious details, and why this film stole our hearts in 2024.
That review is re-airing now. Happy listening.
This is a Bramble Jam podcast.
Welcome to Girls Gone Hallmark, a Hallmark review podcast. I'm Megan, and I'm a longtime Hallmark movie fan.
I'm Wendy. I'm a former Hallmark hater.
We interrupt our Signed, Sealed, Delivered summer for an on-demand episode discussing Savoring Paris, which originally aired on the Hallmark Channel on Saturday, June 8th, 2024. Hang out with us when the podcast is over. Follow us on Instagram. We are Girls Gone Hallmark, and we are also at Megan and Wendy.
Hey, we have a booming Facebook group, Girls Gone Hallmark, if you are looking for like-minded people who want to chat about Hallmark movies, actors, things happening.
We also have a long-neglected Twitter account that we have recently revived, and it is simply Gone Hallmark because Twitter does not allow you to have the number of characters we need for our entire name. And the postable community is popping off over there. So if you'd like to join us to talk Hallmark on Twitter, we are at Gone Hallmark.
Do you think we should change that somehow?
It's not possible. Girls Gone Hallmark is too long. What are you going to be? Girls Gone Hallmark with no I?
I know. It just would be too difficult. I just wanted to pull up some breaking Hallmark news.
Oh, let's hear it.
Hallmark, ready to film 3 new movies centered around 2023 Christmas hit. This comes from Heavy.com. And this isn't quite breaking news because somebody broke this in our Facebook group either last week or the week before. It has to do with Christmas on Cherry Lane.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, we saw that it was in production, but there was no details.
Yes.
So this says a sequel is underway with filming set to begin in late June 2024, according to production trades. Soon after the shoot is finished, according to the Cinemaholic, 2 additional Christmas on Cherry Lane movies are scheduled to shoot later in the summer.
Interesting. We're getting it 3 Christmas on Cherry Lanes back to back, or are they worried about the characters aging and they need to film the next 3 movies?
You know, perhaps. Maybe that's the situation.
Interesting. I will be curious to see how that all shakes out.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that movie last year. I thought it was while a little bit confusing, a very interesting take that Hallmark hasn't done.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was a big swing, and I think it was handled well. And as you spend the whole movie going, wait a minute, who are these people? Like, you know, they're going to tie together. How are they going to tie together? And now we can flesh out these relationships a little bit more.
Yeah, I kind of love it.
It's very much like This Is Us for Hallmark.
Totally. Lacey Chabert and Brennan Elliott are reuniting in a movie with an unusual twist, again, from Heavy.com. And this, you know, a lot of fans really love the pairing of Lacey Chabert and Brennan Elliott, right? They've been in movies before with each other. None that I think we've reviewed here.
Isn't that funny? Because I think they've been in something like 9 movies together.
It was all pre-Girls Gone Hallmark. Mm-hmm. So it looks like they are working on a new movie. The working title is called His and Hers, and it is slated to premiere during Hallmark's Fall in Love programming later this year. Well, fall for Hallmark is usually September.
For sure.
So
to early October.
Yeah, it looks like we'll have a new movie with them this year. You know, I don't know if you're aware of this, but Brennan Elliott's wife has been quite ill.
Yes, I am.
But I guess she's doing better right now.
That's good news.
So it's hard. I can't imagine like having to go off to work and be out of the country.
Yeah, she had shared an update during her recent hospitalization that, she was in the hospital and he was at her bedside reading a script for an upcoming project. So it's a lot to juggle. I don't know that we have discussed this, but coming up soon, we are switching to Christmas in July coverage.
Yeah.
And I don't know that we've announced the 2 Christmas in July premieres, but there are 2 new movies. One is called Falling Like Snowflakes with Marcus Roster and Rebecca Dalton, and that actually premieres pre-July. It's Saturday, June 29th on Hallmark Channel. And the synopsis is: a photographer determined to complete her exhibit by capturing a rare photo of a 12-sided snowflake, enlists the help of a childhood friend, and then go on a mission they'll never forget. I'm going to reserve judgment.
Okay.
The second movie comes out later in the month on July 20th, A Very Vermont Christmas, starring Katie Leclerc and Ryan McPartlin. Once again on the Hallmark Channel, a local champion skier and Vermont brewmaster team up with an unlikely match to create a seasonal microbrew in order to save her family's business by Christmas.
Oh my gosh. I did write a post about the movies coming to Hallmark in July, and I was not wowed by these selections.
It's unfortunate because some of the new Christmas in July releases, like Campfire Christmas and Crashing Through the Snow, were Christmas in July releases that were great. And I don't want to fall into the trap of just releasing, like, I'm going to be honest, these feel like possible acquisitions as opposed to Hallmark original content.
Perhaps.
We shall see.
We shall see. I have one last update from the 3 wise men and a baby camp. Andrew Walker tells Heavy.com that the sequel, he says, quote, I'll tell you, it was a mountain. It wasn't easy, that's for sure. I guess the summary here is that they don't want to let the fans down with the
Sure.
Sure. That's a lot of pressure.
It is a lot of pressure, but I'm going to be honest. People are showing up for the 3 dudes. Like, when you look at the 3 Wise Men, that was a funny movie. It was well made, but it was a success because of the personalities on the show, not because I think it was the standout writing success of the year, not because I think they took huge swings.
Yes, but let me remind you, Russell Hanlon is writing the script for this, and he's a great writer.
I agree. So I think there's a lot of room for them to make this great.
I hope so. I hope so. It's going to do well regardless.
Absolutely.
All right. Let's talk about Savoring Paris.
Let's hear a synopsis.
Delusioned by her life, Ella embarks on a soul.
I think you mean disillusioned.
What did I say? Disillusioned with her life, Ella embarks on a soul-searching journey to Paris, where she navigates love, self-discovery, and cheese in the enchanting backdrop of the city of love.
Claire Niederprum directed Savoring Paris. At just 38, Claire has 17 directing credits, including Hallmark projects like An American in Austin, A Pinch of Portugal, A Royal Corgi Christmas, as well as several others. Her first movie for Hallmark was In the Key of Love in 2019.
Joa Botkin wrote the screenplay for this movie. She has 25 writing credits, including this year's well-liked Branching Out. She also wrote Never Been Kissed, 3 Bed, 2 Bath, 1 Ghost, Our Italian Christmas Memories, Mid-Love Crisis, as well as Cranberry Christmas, which we will be reviewing as part of our Christmas in July series kicking off next month. The movie is based on the 2018 book Fromage à Trois, I love it, Paris, Love, Cheese by Victoria Brownlee.
Bethany Joy Lenz stars as Ella Weber. We last saw her in A Biltmore Christmas in 2023 with Christopher Polaha. Before that, she was in An Unexpected Christmas with Tyler Hines. Not only an actor, Joy dropped a single called Strawberries last August, which was a good little summer bop.
Do you remember it?
I don't.
I liked it. I liked it a lot. French actor Stanley Weber plays Serge. He is known for his performances as Juan Borgia. Is that how you would say that? Borgia?
I would say Borgia.
In the television series Borgia, as well as appearing in 6 episodes of the popular TV series Outlander. This is his first Hallmark movie. He is a French actor.
Yeah, having a hard time hearing the name Surge while we're in the midst of Signed, Sealed, Delivered and not picturing our beloved Chris Gaultier.
Yes.
Ben Wiggins plays Gaston, and I gotta say that I'm sure it's a common French name, but for American watchers, it is impossible not to think Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, of course.
With 21 acting credits, Ben appeared in the last season of You on Netflix, Death in Paradise, and Grace. This is also his first project for Hallmark. Manon Azem plays Clotilde. She is a French actress with 29 acting credits and is known for the French TV series Research Unit, where she appeared in 49 episodes.
Lucy Newman-Williams plays Ella's mom, Lori. For Hallmark, she's appeared in Joie, Noel, and Love in the Maldives. Outside of the network, Newman-Williams has been in Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan and The Crown.
Savoring Paris was partly filmed on location in Paris, France, as well as in Faux France, Bulgaria. What was your first impression of Savoring Paris?
I gotta ask a question.
Oh.
Why isn't anyone talking about the dynamic duo of Joie Botkin and Claire Niederperum?
Really the standout pairing in this movie.
This is the second movie they've done together.
And what was their other one?
Her Pen Pal? A movie I haven't seen, but I have heard good things about.
That came highly recommended by our Facebook group members.
That's right.
My first impression is, why not live a life I want indeed? Paris, midlife crisis, TBD.
This movie gave me some to think about, actually.
Yeah.
Not that I'm going to run away to a foreign country, but okay, we'll get into it. We will get into it. Tell me what you liked about this movie.
Well, let's start with your comment there. I am a Joie Botkin fangirl. Mm-hmm. I like the depth of the stories that she writes, and I like where we're going here. And as a midlife woman, even though Ella's like, I am not in midlife. I am. And I think it's interesting to look at all of the things that are expected of you.
Sure.
You know, her mom's like, buy a condo, freeze your eggs, march forward with this life that I think that you should have. And she's like, wait a minute. What about what I actually want? Like, instead of checking the boxes and having the savings accounts, and of course, these are the responsible things, what about the life I want?
Yeah, I agree with that. I have to say that I did kind of watch this movie through the lens of her mother.
Oh, yes.
And there was one point in the movie where Ella says, like, there's nothing there for me. She's talking about like moving home and like how hurtful that would have been to the mom. I would have died inside, actually. However, as a parent, you have to let your adult children do what is best for them, like their own decisions.
I think the difference with a parent-child relationship, an adult parent-child relationship, is that it's not dependent on living in the same space. And it shouldn't be dependent on living in the same space. Like you know, the mom at the end of the movie comments like, I'll be visiting you a lot. And that relationship shouldn't be based on living the same life, living in proximity.
Right.
My husband has a friend who his kids are going to be a high school senior and a college junior. And I had commented like, oh, you know, your youngest is going to be a senior. How are you feeling about that? He's like, oh, we're bird launchers. We're not empty nesters. This is the next right thing for them. And I loved that perspective.
Totally.
And I am totally trying to like, this is the natural progression of things. As friend of the show, Kathleen Donahoe says, if you can't get out of it, get into it. Life is marching forward. Our children are moving on. And why not be there to celebrate it instead of crying about it? Like, let's be excited for them. Let's be along for the ride instead of living in the muck of they're never going to be babies again.
I am glad that the mom finally like kind of came around and was supportive of her.
That's the right thing, right? Like you want them to find their own life.
Even if it's on the other side of the world.
Can you imagine?
I'd be like, I'm moving to Paris.
Guess what? Mommy's going to be your neighbor. Get into it. Exactly. What else did you like about this movie?
Well, overall, I really enjoyed this movie, and I'm glad that the members of our Girls Gone Hallmark Facebook group encouraged us to watch it and review it. If you didn't know, we are not currently reviewing like the movies that are coming out in real time because we're doing Sign Seal Deliver this summer.
That's right.
But there was so much chatter in our Facebook group, like, please review this movie. This was such a great movie. This is my new favorite Bethany Joy Lenz movie. Like, so I'm glad we watched it. I really enjoyed it. I watched it from start to beginning. Didn't fall asleep.
Wow.
Kept me entertained. I thought that it had great acting. It was nice to look at. I thought the story was interesting, which also felt very classically Hallmark, but on the flip side of it, had moments that were very non-Hallmarky. For example, when Ella goes to Serge after they have like this disagreement, she says, "Can we just be adults and talk about this?" I was like, woo, woo, woo. Fist pumping on my couch. I loved it. Yeah,
I thought this movie was quite funny in parts, like lots of funny lines.
Yeah.
The way they talk about Gaston, the way Serge talks to her. I think the humor was balanced. I also think there's a lot of relationships in this movie, and they did a nice job of developing them all. Her friendship with Clotilde is well built up. Her relationship with her mother, the fact that her mother comes there in person and doesn't just exist over the phone after the beginning establishment, you know, with her condo shopping. I think they did a nice job of developing those relationships. Even her one-off relationship with Gaston. This movie, they did a lot with the limited time they have. I found myself feeling like this felt like a longer movie than an hour and 20 minutes because of what they were able to do. And I think they used their time on screen wisely.
and that is a nod to the director.
For sure.
Yeah.
And the writing. Like both of them not wasting time where time didn't need to be wasted.
Right. I agree with you. I did think the script was really good. I enjoyed the contemporary dialogue. At one point, Ella says, she asks, "Am I just going to nope right out of my life?" And I was like, I mean, you could have said that. You know what I mean? Like, I loved that. I also loved that basically Gaston was an F-boy.
Yeah.
Without actually saying it. It was just really funny. And I enjoyed that he was this younger man. Ella was a little bit older than him. Like they had, you know, this.
Very racy for Hallmark.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. There were, like I said, part of, like, I feel like the framework was kind of classic Hallmark where this woman runs away to like find herself, right? But then there was all these other layers to it that made it not a typical Hallmark movie, which I really, really enjoyed.
Yeah, in this movie, I like the visual character development we get for Ella with her wardrobe, how she is very much herself. I think her touristy wardrobe is cute. I think she looks fine. She's just in jeans and t-shirts and striped sweatshirts. She looks fine. But then she goes like almost to a caricature of a Parisian woman in some ways.
That's in my wishes.
Sometimes I did feel like it was a little bit over the top, like so many stripes, so much of the red lip. However, I did think there were some gorgeously iconic moments. Obviously, that pink pantsuit is
Oh yeah, great.
could not be cuter. There's another like strapless in the scene where she confronts Gaston when he's with the other woman. She looks great. There are some great looks. Like there's a mustard pant outfit. There are some great looks. And I think the way they use the clothes to tell the story,
Oh, good point.
I like it.
Yeah, there was definitely a transformation, right?
Yeah, like you're seeing her become this Parisian woman, not an American woman escaping from her life in Paris.
Yes, but and you definitely see that. And that's why it's in my, and I'll talk about it in my wishes here. I do have a couple more likes, and I know we're a little bit out of order, but I do feel, and you said it so beautifully, that she was more of a caricature of a Parisian woman. And I agree with like the big neck flower and then I don't know if she had an actual like beret on at one point. I can't
But she had
remember,
like a head piece.
Yeah.
Like almost like a fascinator, like a French
yes.
oversized headband.
Yeah. Like I didn't like that stuff because it felt fake to me. But now when you put it in the context of like, no, look at this like evolution that we had. You're right. Well done.
Hey, thanks.
And well done to the wardrobe designer who worked on this movie. Hey, what about Serge being divorced. Like, no drama, no dead wife, no whatever.
Yeah, I
Just
love
like,
it.
Yeah. I was in this marriage, it didn't work out.
Yeah, and I think it makes sense, right? Because we don't know exactly how old he is, but he's an adult man. He's not in his 20s. And he doesn't need to have a dead wife. He doesn't need to have been single all this time. Like, he's had relationships. He has lived a life. He is not damaged in some way.
Yeah.
He's just an adult man who is currently single.
Yeah. I really loved and appreciated that.
She didn't leave him with a small child at home that he had to raise on his own, right?
Yeah, those are, I find myself when we go back and we watch older movies, like, I feel like that's all we get. And I just don't like it. I just think there's better storytelling out there. And in addition, I am tired of like you said, he's not like this man of a certain age who's been single all this time. Like, I'm glad that they're not trying to fit. I don't know how old Bethany Joy Lenz is. I'm going to say she's in her later 30s, maybe early 40s.
She's got to be 40. She's got to be 40.
I really don't know.
Because think about
really
how
don't know.
old we were when One Tree Hill was on.
I was like 26, 27.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought we were younger. She's 43.
Okay.
She's a year younger, according to the internet, which if you listen to our Erica Tublet interview is often wrong, but born in 1981, according to this.
43 years old. I like that we're not trying to fit a 43-year-old actor into a 25-year-old story.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I do.
So I like that. Finally, I love the roommate. I'm not even trying to say her name. I cannot. I tried to listen so many times. You said it earlier. It's
Clotilde.
I cannot say it for some reason. Anyway, I loved her. I thought she was like a super fun contrast to Ella, but then also had very similar parallels trying to find themselves, trying to figure out what they were going to do with their lives. At one point in the beginning of the movie, when she comes to sublet the apartment and she's like, how do you afford this? She's like, family money. Yeah. I just was like, that is hilarious. Yeah. Way to keep it real. Like, I just loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it. I loved her. I thought she was great.
What'd you wish for?
Well, I already talked about it. It was only one, and it was the French tourist outfits.
I have very small wishes. One, I needed Gaston to stop telling her she smelled like cheese. Like, stop it.
Oh,
it's a one-off maybe comment because she eats a lot of cheese, but like the fact that it's a multiple. Stop it.
I would be so offended.
That would be it. I'd be like, yeah, this isn't gonna work. Yeah. Stop it.
First of all, I
It's
work in a
not
cheese
funny.
shop. She did say that, right? Like, I work with cheese.
It doesn't matter. It's annoying.
I agree. It's annoying. What else?
The silly "I love you" misunderstanding was too much. Too tropey. That's all.
Speaking of like the French language, did you enjoy the little like text bubbles?
I did. I thought that was very clever, particularly because they were done through like the way her brain was processing what people were saying as opposed to just being a direct translation. I liked that. And I like that we get a lot of use of the French in the movie instead of having all of these French people speaking English because French people like to speak French.
Yes. Yes, they do.
So yeah, I liked it. Do you have any did to see that?
I do. Hear me out. The opening montage, the beginning part of the movie, right? They're showing like all these photos of France. And they showed Notre Dame and it didn't have any scaffolding around it. And
That's because that's her like
girl, I know. Let me get there.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. Keep going.
So I was like, oh, I felt so proud of myself. I was like, did you see that? They have an old B footage of Notre Dame. I was there last year. It's full of scaffolding still since their fire. And then I was in the shower after this movie ended and I was like, wait a minute. Her hair was short in those pictures. So that was when she was in Paris years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. The other one I have is shout out to our Facebook group who brought this to our attention. Anya Firestone appears as herself. She is a real life tour guide in Paris. And she also appeared in the Bravo reality TV show, Real Girlfriends of Paris.
Did you ever watch that?
No.
Wendy's our resident Bravo
I
watcher.
am. That was like a 1-season wonder. I did not watch it, but I might now.
Yeah, I liked her role in this movie. I thought that was cute. My Did You See That's our small one. I loved the closed captioning. I don't know if you noticed, but there's a couple moments where they like insert like French words into a sentence, and it would be like it would be captioning the English, and it would just say French in all caps, and then
Didn't notice.
like we're not even gonna try.
But
I watched this on Friendly. Different captioning services would have it differently. The final Did You See That is loosely a Did You See That, and it is more of a quote from my husband, who was like watching this in the background because he's like, I don't do European movies. And she makes a comment early, I believe it's when Gaston is asking her when she first meets him, and he asks to take her out. And she's like, I'm only here for 2 weeks. And my husband goes, doesn't take that long to bone.
oh my goodness.
He just wants to have a little fun.
And
Gaston the cad.
even if, well, Gaston the F boy, but even if you can go on a date, you can enjoy someone's conversation and have a meal. It doesn't have to like lead to anything. She's like, oh no, I'm here for 2 weeks. Yeah, that's funny. What'd you rate this movie?
I gave it 4.25 stars.
I gave it 4.5 stars.
Wow. That's funny to say that, because if you were to come look at my notes, it is written 4.5 stars, and I edited it on the fly.
Why?
I don't know.
Just vibes.
Just vibes.
Just vibes. All right.
Hey, thank you for listening to this episode of Girls Gone Hallmark. We hope you loved it. If you love this podcast, hop into the Apple Podcast app and leave us a 5-star rating and a review. We'll be back tomorrow with more signed, sealed, delivered summer. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
All right, friends, before we go, just a quick heads up. You're about to hear some ads. These little gems help us keep the show running and the Hallmark love flowing. So do with that info what you will. Grab a snack, hit the skip button, or maybe, just maybe, listen in and discover your new favorite product. Bye.